Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I want to share a bit of a storage video with you. I share a lot of 6x6 paper pad tutorials, and I thought it would be interesting to some people to see how I store my 6x6 papers. Because I tend to use up complete pads, some pads of paper only sit in this storage very temporarily, and so it doesn't even really particularly matter how I store it. Like once I get going, it's usually gone in a week or a couple of days. But I have some paper pads that I don't use as like a full tutorial, and instead I just use a few sheets here and there. So I wanted to share how I store those in case it might be helpful to someone. The basket that I'm storing them in, I do use multiple of this basket in a bookshelf storage unit that I have in my craft room, and I do hope to share a future video where I share my whole craft room, or at the very least compile a blog post that might be helpful to show you some of the areas of my craft room. Now, this basket is from Target.com, or you can pick it up in stores as well, and I will leave you a link to it because I think it is really quite a perfect size for 6x6 papers. It's 11 inches long, so 11 inches this way, and then 8 inches high and 10 inches wide. The measurements aren't exact, but if you go to the Target website, they'll give you more exact measurements on that. I created my own dividers to put inside of the basket. They have some wiggle room for sure. They're 7x7. It's a piece of the Accent Opaque 120-pound real thick cardstock that I use for most of my card making. And I made a label with my label maker. Then I laminated the entire sheet and cut that out. It may have been nicer to make a tab for the label, but they were all quite long and the tab die that I had didn't really fit it. It wasn't that big a deal to me. It works out. I don't have that many categories. Each pad of paper is stored in a quart size zip top bag. They are all freezer bags. I specifically chose freezer bags because they are thicker, and therefore as I'm pulling the paper in and out repeatedly, it was less likely to tear. Most of these bags I have used for several different paper pads, so when I finish one, I just save the bag for the next paper pad. I really like storing them in these zip top bags because it means that all of the scraps can be stored inside. So here I have some smaller scraps of this paper pad, and I have stored them inside the bag. I know some people just kind of slip them into the pad, but I find that over time they come out, especially as you use the pad a lot, you wind up accumulating more and more scraps or smaller and smaller scraps. I just kind of picked categories that worked best for me, that I just kind of like, what did I see when I made the categories, knowing that I could easily make another divider when I had a new category, or if the categories weren't working for me. These were all handmade. I didn't have to go to the store and purchase anything. It was stuff I have on hand because I own a laminator already and a label maker, etc. Of course, you could handwrite the labels. So I have Lawn Fawn holiday paper and then just regular Lawn Fawn paper. I like that the Lawn Fawn papers tend to have patterns that are very simple, and therefore they like mix and match well with a lot of other things. But the Lawn Fawn paper pads, I just can't seem to use them fast enough. They're always, by the time I'm using a paper pad, I feel like it's been 3 seasons since they released it. But I still love them. And there's like the really rainbow that I had to buy 2 of, and yet haven't used up even a whole pad yet, I don't think. I just keep all of my holiday paper together because those holiday papers are the ones that I am most likely to use up completely in a paper pad tutorial. I also tend to buy a lot of Doodlebug paper pads, but they get used up a lot. If you are a subscriber, you know I do a lot of 6x6 paper pad tutorials, and I've done a lot of Doodlebug ones. If you're not already a subscriber and you like 6x6 paper pads, hence you're watching this video, you may enjoy checking those out, and I will leave you a little link up at the top and some in the video description. So I only have a sort of simple doodlebug pad in here because most of them get used all the way up. Then I just have other for like the random papers that I have, but as you can see, most of the ones that are in here are really simple patterns like stripes and gingham and starburst kind of thing. A couple of MFT pads. These are another one that by the time I use them, they're retired. But they do have a lot of fun patterns, and I, in terms of like, they're simple, so they pair with a lot of things, but still interesting enough that I like using them. However, I like to participate in my favorite things challenges, and so having their paper on hand can make that a little bit easier. All right, so hopefully that answers all the questions that you have, if you had any, about 6x6 paper pad storage, or this gives you some ideas of how you might want to store yours. This fits really well on a bookshelf in my office, but I imagine you could make it work in a lot of other spaces as well. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more crafting tutorials, specifically 6x6 paper pad tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I would love to hear how you guys store your paper pads, and if you have any tips and tricks, because this is a sort of an ever-evolving process. All right, have an awesome day, guys. Bye.